Welcome back to Red Panda of Destiny, here for another episode of Show of the Year. We, of course, still covering 2017's American Vandal. We were on episode 5, Premature Theories. Whether or not that's an innuendo, you can decide for yourself. And this is probably my favorite episode. We'll get to why in a minute. Beginning, they kind of wrap up the whole Jansen voicemail thing because they try and get it from Jansen's daughter, and because the videos, like earlier videos, had already been posted online, people start calling and calling and calling and calling, and it gets very out of hand. And it basically ends with she gets Peter to come over under some pretense, and then she gets the tape and just rips it apart in front of him. It's like, this tape, and yeah, she's pretty pissed off. Rightfully so, I think. That was very uncalled for, what happened, with no doubt hundreds and hundreds of people calling. Yeah. And Peter then kind of blames himself, as he should. I mean, it's partially his fault that all of that happened. And actually, I should have given this positive earlier, but I love the way that this series uses actual Facebook, actual YouTube, actual Instagram. Everything looks legit. They even use actual iPhones. It's really cool. I don't know if they had to get special licensing for all that, but it just really adds to the realism. It's like if you watch like an old 90s film, the software always used to be created for the film. And it definitely seems like modern stuff is going towards you use the real thing, even if it costs you more money. But it just helps sell the realism. And then they kind of have a fun little compilation of comments, I guess Twitter posts with hashtags and everything. And they even went and manufactured some commentary videos about his videos. It's actually pretty cool that they do that. Just adds a little bit more flavor to it. And they start to discuss this sort of fan theories, just like hashtag the janitor did it, hashtag the AV teacher did it, both of which kind of have some merit, but in the end, none of that really pans out. But then we get to why I love this episode, Nana's party. So there's this big mythical party that they've kind of been referencing for the past couple episodes, and basically the whole school is there, except conveniently the two people making the movie, which is kind of ironic. I guess they aren't the sort of people who go to those big parties, but like literally every character we've seen, apart from them, is at the party. And they sort of do it's not a reenactment, it's like just like a complete investigation of it. They get videos, they have this whole cool model graphic, and they basically reconstruct, I think would be the best word, the party. And they even have like phones and I think they've already been doing this in the phones. You know, obviously when you film with a phone, you get that sort of up view. So they use a lot of that footage, so it looks like it came from, was it Vine? I don't know, those little short video app things, I forget what they're called. And it kind of adds to the flavor again. And the first part of their investigation is to see if the Wayback Boys were actually planning the digs. But it turned out they were planning the other prank. I mean, it's just so far-fetched that they did two pranks at once, and that they were planning a huge prank to cover up for another prank. Still weird. Anyway, then they notice a spray paint can. The spray paint can that was used on the cars. So they follow that around for a little while. It was used by Gabby's boyfriend, I forget his name, to spray paint a towel for his douchey proposal. So he has it, and then he puts it down, and then it sits there for a while, and then somebody tries to do something stupid with it, and then somebody uses it to break up Adderall. Slightly concerning. And then it disappears. So they obviously deduce that whoever did it must have been at that party. Doesn't really narrow it down very much because it was a pretty big party, but whatever. And because they then know what the can was, they're able to deduce that it has splatter because it's a very old can. It's, I think they said it was from '93, so it's over 20 years old. So naturally, it doesn't work quite as well as a brand new can of spray paint. And then that means that they can figure out whose car was targeted first. That's kind of the cliffhanger of this episode. Although they do reveal that. Oh, what's her name? Shapiro. Shapiro's car can't have been the first one because it doesn't have splatter. Although it's funny, she kind of discredited herself because she's like, you would naturally strike your target first. But her car doesn't have splatter, so actually somebody else's car was first. So if her theory is true, somebody else was the target. And that's like the big cliffhanger. And then just a fun little side note, you see Tromboli in one of the videos drinking a beer that he was drinking about 2 hours earlier. I think it was a pretty long party. And this is the guy who was saying, I had 11 beers. I was drunker than anyone at this school's ever been. And he had one beer. It's hilarious. But they also show that Ming had going on 11 beers. It was like, and it's actually the footage of Ming's first beer at the beginning, and it's like Ming's 9th beer, and it just keeps going. So yeah, that's just some fun flavor to the party there. But yeah, that was the cliffhanger. So we'll get to the next episode, and we will find out what the target was. I hope you will join us next week.